because the assumption that you have is that manifestation is arbitrary. This is one of the problems with the law of attraction. This is one of the problems with other things like chaos magic. Chaos magic is a really, hit and miss type of magic because it operates from the assumption that we live in an arbitrary universe and that you can become, you can manifest anything and everything, but it doesn't really matter what, it's all arbitrary. And the law of attraction has this thing that says, if you sit on the edge of your bed and you focus on a specific thing, it'll come to you. There's truth to that. I'm not saying that that's not true at all. What I am saying is that the assumption there that I hear in your question, which maybe I'm missing, maybe I'm wrong about this, but the assumption I'm hearing in your question is you're trying to figure out, you think it's arbitrary. So, for instance, let's take the example of a house, like a specific house versus a house in general. I would want to sit you down and ask, why are you thinking about a specific house? So, to answer your question, the first thing you need to do is you need to discover what it is you truly want as opposed to what you think you want. For instance, when it comes to a house, somebody might say, I want a big house with a lot of cars and and if I dig deep enough, I may find out that what's really going on is they're afraid. And they think if they have enough stuff, enough money, that then they'll be protected and they'll feel safe. And that won't do it. The question is, what is it that their soul desires? And their soul might want a cute little cabin in the woods somewhere. Not some big house in the city because your parents said you have to have real estate, and if you want to be successful, you have to have a big... So you have to find out where you're coming from first. Then, when you know what it is that you want, you won't have to ask yourself this question because you'll know exactly what you want. I mean, I'm living in exactly what I want right now. I didn't know this house existed. But I just decided, I came to realize exactly what I wanted. Where I wanted to live. I'm living in Australia, and I'm surrounded by rainforest and birds and nature trails and empty beaches in all directions, and just enough of a city to have all the things that I need. But yet if I just drive in that direction, I'm just empty beaches for miles and forest trails and all of that. And I wanted a house that was next to trails and in walking distance to the beach. And I wanted specific things so that I could have my surfboards and I could... So I knew exactly what I wanted, and I didn't have to manifest it. So the thing is, if you know what you want and you're connected, you don't have to manifest it. It'll come to you. But it doesn't really matter what. It's all arbitrary. And the law of attraction has this thing that says, if you sit on the edge of your bed and you focus on a specific thing, it'll come to you. There's truth to that. I'm not saying that that's not true at all. What I am saying is that the assumption there that I hear in your question, which maybe I'm missing, So from a psychological perspective, here's what they say. I've been saying this, but they're saying the same thing, which is that positive affirmations do not work, and they'll say much of the time or most of the time. Or if they do work, they'll only work temporarily, which is also what I've been saying. And they say that because positive affirmations are assumed to give you the power to do things you don't believe you can do. And when I heard that was really important information. And we need to be conscious of that. So I want you to sit with your feelings for a moment. Those of you who've been trying to change your life through positive affirmations, through the law of attraction, through whatever it is, if you're honest with yourself, the things that you've been trying to positively affirm into your reality are things you don't believe. Even things like, I am worthy, I am lovable, people respect me, I have confidence. Be honest with yourself. Do you believe that? Because if you did believe it, why do you need to tell yourself these things. Now, I'm not judging anybody. Listen, I did positive affirmations for years, and I completely, totally, emotionally relate to wanting something over there or wanting something in your life, but not really believing that you deserve it or that you can pull it off. But it doesn't really matter what, it's all arbitrary. And the law of attraction has this thing that says, you know, if you sit on the edge of your bed and you focus on a specific thing, it'll come to you. There's truth to that. I'm not saying that that's not true at all. What I am saying is that the assumption there that I hear in your question, which maybe I'm missing, maybe you.
Holy fuck! Thunderwizard said there's some fucking truth to fucking positive affirmations at the end of your bed. Did y'all just hear that shit? I just played it for y'all to hear that shit, so I know y'all heard that shit. But that's funny, eh? So I was gonna get ready to tear his ass up after saying something and then changing what he says. And I won't play it. I was gonna make this big fucking masterpiece of clipped episodes from when he argued with me over positive affirmations, and in that episode where he says positive affirmations aren't fake, and I'm not joking, I fucking already recorded some of the content to fucking piece it together, make him show you where he says, I'm not saying there's no truth to that, I never said there's no truth to that, and then I actually have the clips where he actually says there's no truth to that, how it doesn't work. I psychologist, I have that all ready to go, but I'm not going to. And you know why? Because people are allowed to make mistakes, and people like me who are trying to teach other people exploit other people who are trying to teach other people, especially somebody who has way more subscribers than me, has more power and influence than I do. And I'm not trying to give that away of myself, but by the sheer fact that he has a bigger subscriber count, he has more attention on him, therefore has a bigger influence over people. It's just simple logistics, simple numbers. It's a numbers game. You know, he always refers people to his older videos, and he's right about doing that. People should do that to get a base. But like I said previously, when you revisit things, you add your current experiences versus just your old experiences and new understandings to what you know now to what you have before. Plus, the more videos you make, the more attention you get, the more people get attracted, you know? Because you never know. There are followers, there are people that watch videos all the time that are in it for themselves. There are other people that will have an influence on people. So like 1 out of 10, let's say, has the power to view something, and by them viewing it, they're more connected to other people. It's very hard to explain, but you know, like the things they did with monkeys on 2 separate islands. This is documented in different science journals, different scientific, and these things, you can find them. I've seen older YouTube videos about them, and I looked them up. The ones I could find were pretty fucking, I don't know, they seem very, very legit, as much as legit can be. But a monkey, so a bunch of monkeys on the one side of the earth. I think he actually talked about this in one of his videos. A bunch of monkeys on the one side of the earth, other monkeys on another side of the earth, okay? Humans are with the one monkey civilization, whereas the other one, humans are just observing them, where they can't see that they're there. The humans show the one monkey how to do something, okay? And then, I forget the time gap, potentially anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks. And I know it's weird, but I remember 3 being something in there having to do with something, and just, you know, it's 3 stands out to me as, you know, a good number, a special number, whatever the case is. And I could be wrong, whatever, who knows. But the monkeys who are interacting with the humans, who humans haven't taught to do this thing, well, they start doing the thing that the humans taught the other monkey civilization. They've proven this also with rats. They've proven this with human beings. This is a study that's very controversial, very hard to find. I saw it a long time ago and I can't find it again. I would have fucking screen recorded it and threw it up here a long time ago, because it proves how we are connected to our unconscious. It proves that if one person is doing something, and that's kind of when one person is doing something, the other people get that information. They get those downloads. They can know the stuff the other people are knowing without even knowing where it comes from. And how they get it, they don't really know. Like when they speak to them, it's like, how did you know to do that? And they simply say, It was just, I was in the moment. Some people said it was instinct. Some people said it was the thoughts they were having. Some people said it was an idea, and it was a big elaborate thing. They said, like, oh yeah, I was thinking about my house and doing stuff in my house, and all of a sudden the idea came to me, and I can't even think about the circumstances or what they did. It wasn't something very elaborate, but it was something distinct enough to know that it was a distinct something. And that's what they were trying to recreate. Like, did it come to you as thoughts? And for every person, it came as a different scenario, at least when they tried to explain it. There was a lot of people that just said, though, like, they don't know. It was just kind of like, we just started doing it. It just made sense at the time. And I said, well, have you ever done this before? Well, no. Why would I? I don't know this stuff. But it made sense in the moment. And what I'm trying to say by that is there's certain people that will watch certain material, let's say 1 in 10, maybe even 2 in 10, that will start trends. People, there's no, I don't even think the Thunderwizard or Ralph Smart or any of the people I listen to watch my stuff. But I'll make a video and then they'll talk about something. But before that, and there's a lot of things I thought Thunderwizard copied off. I'm not even gonna lie. Then I watch his older videos and he's talking about the stuff I'm talking about now. It's like I'm copying his ass. Yeah, I didn't watch those videos until just now. That's the point. When you stare at somebody, when you listen to somebody, you can get their thoughts. You can get their information to you. I mean, I watched this Thunderwizard, and when I first started watching him, again, after not watching him for years, he was pretending he was a reptilian. That bugged me. That prompted me to go even deeper into the reptilian brain stem to learn about the triune brain, meaning neocortex, limbic system, reptilian brain stem. Those are the 3 layers. I mean, the brain is so much more complex than that. You get into the hippocampus and the amygdala and the amygdala. I can't remember all the names of the there's the other one I can't remember. The one that wasn't created. The Grant Morrison thing I said. They were talking about the I can't remember the name. But anyways, it's so much more complex than that. And even degrading the brain down to just a 3-plex, okay, 3 layers, is like making it so more simpler than it really is. But it's a way to understand it. And, you know, just saying subconscious and conscious is even more simplified when it's even more complex than that. Now, I don't completely agree with his unconscious, subconscious, and conscious mind theory. I know we have the triune brain, and he says that, and if you go by the triune brain model, the reptilian brain stem is the oldest part of the brain that carries out the automatic functions, whereas in the middle of the limbic system is where the emotions come from. But the emotions trigger the reptilian brain. Without the emotional part of the brain, the limbic system, nothing really happens in the reptilian brain stem, because most people say, well, fight or flight happens in the reptilian brain stem, and it does. Some people say it's your conscious mind doing ego, making fight or flight, and that's so inaccurate, it's unbelievable. But what happens is that your neocortex experiences something, and your sensory faculties, you know, touch, scent, seeing, taste, hearing, those 5 things, experience trauma. Then that signals the limbic system to signal the reptilian brain stem to say, wow, this is too much. We don't want to make Corey be traumatized. So we need to go back 1 second, erase what just happened out of his memory, and it records all the things you saw, smelt, tasted, touched, and heard at that moment. So every time that thing happens, as a predetermined, it's like a triggering mechanism. So as soon as all those things happen simultaneously again, you automatically get triggered unconsciously, so you don't remember what happens. And the one guy I learned this from said this thing could be happening over and over to you, and you could be hitting a fucking wall, running into a wall because you're unconscious and you don't know why. You're going to the doctor to see why you're getting these massive headaches, and you're actually getting these marks on your head that you don't know where they're coming from. You might even blame it on supernatural things, like there's something attacking me at night. Look, I wake up with this thing, but yeah, it's just you being triggered by this circumstance that your body has deemed is too traumatizing for you to handle. That's how powerful these parts of the mind are. But the reason I don't completely agree with him, because he says the subconscious is this lens in between the unconscious, and it's how you get stuff into the unconscious, whereas that might have some truth to it, because obviously there's truth to everything. The emotions are what trigger the reptilian brainstem. But when it comes to your animals, they don't have a neocortex. They have a reptilian brainstem. And I think they can have emotions, because I've seen dogs be sad. But it's like, they really only have the two basic ones, like fear and love, which all the other ones are stemmed from. Whereas we have our limbic system that has more range of that. But I think what it ends up being is like anger is a part of fear and joy is part of love, right? So you experience joy, which is part of that spectrum where you're allowed to. But that's where like the deities come from and all that shit. He likes to say the deities are in the unconscious mind where your reptilian brainstem is, and it's like, well, the limbic system is the emotional mind, and these deities are attached to, like, Venus is love, and Mars is, well, it could be passion or it could be anger. And Venus can also be like, the opposite of Venus could be like, okay, you love, but then greed can be part of too much Venus, Earth energy. And then Saturn, most of the time, gets the bad rep of being the dark side of air, and the sun being the light side of air. Why? The son of man and Satan are opposing each other, and Mercury's right there in between both of them, all three being air signs. And Mercury has the dualistic nature within it. It's part of Gemini after all. Gemini is the twins, it's both sides. So, but Saturn can also be good for some people and not for other people, and the sun can be good for some people and not other people. But if you're a star and you got the sun in Leo, let's say, well then you are going to be shining brighter than everybody else. Like, I could have the most expensive clothing on, I could be wearing the Dumb and Dumber fucking suits, and I could have that bitch in half, like both colors in one suit of the Dumb and Dumber fucking, you know, those fucking weird mint green or whatever they had, yellow or whatever it was, or even Jim Carrey in The Mask, that fucking bright yellow suit on. And because I don't have the sun in Leo, someone else does, the person with the sun in Leo can be wearing bum clothes, and people are going to look at that motherfucker before looking at me, depending on other aspects of planets. Obviously, I'm just being very generalized, but the point is, that person's sun's going to be very important if they want to start them. But if they're too much in the sunshine, everybody's seeing them, and it's overwhelming for them, and they're having a hard time of it, and they have to, let's say it's taking them down. They're not having a good time. They're in the spotlight. You know, like when my other star started going all down. The last thing she wanted was sunlight. Or maybe she needs to do stuff behind the scenes, start making money by just songwriting, and let the fucking people focus on somebody else for a bit and get her sunshine out of the fucking scenery. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily think, and like the moon, right, is right connected to your emotions as a subconscious. Same with Zeus and Jupiter. I already said Mars, and then you got Neptune, and all these other planets and all that. Like I said, I do mostly just the 7. But when it comes to my own chart, I try to understand Pluto and Neptune and Uranus. But they're like these big energies that are like generational. Anyways, it doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to get at is the limbic system has been between both of those, and it speaks to both of those. This is why sometimes meditation, not feeling emotion, being present in the moment, when you can kind of hush up your fucking conscious mind, but still be semi-consciously aware, and things will come from potentially the subconscious, the unconscious. And I don't care what words you want to use. I'm not a stickler for details like that. There probably is something to what that guy is saying, to what Thunderwizard's saying about what he's saying. There's some truth to that, because there are 3 layers, and in that model, conscious, subconscious, and then unconscious. I have always liked to think of the unconscious as the things you do that you're not aware of, and to receive stuff, you almost have to be in the unconscious state. But I always think of the subconscious and the conscious mind being the 2 parts of your mind that you need to know about. Because if the unconscious is something that you don't know about and you're not aware of, well, then what the fuck is the point of fucking even talking about it if we're unaware of it? We can't do anything with that. And I mean, I watched a video a long time ago. I'm saying if you're gonna release unconscious fucking deities into your mind, it's gonna be bad for you. Then his newest video saying unconscious deities, but adding a deity is what you're supposed to do, and there's deities throughout your whole body, and it's not just symbolic. And it's like, once again, I'm not gonna tear him up in this one, because I made a video on that too. This is not to insult them. There's going to be paradoxes when you're learning occult stuff, and especially when people's egos get in the way, and that's not a bad thing. You have to have an ego about this. If you're not confident in what you're teaching, And if you're not a little bit, like, if I wasn't confident in saying what I'm saying and going up against someone like that Thunderwizard and saying that, okay, I think he's right about almost everything except for this little 5% about it knowledge, then I wouldn't be able to do this. So I need to have a little bit of an ego about this shit. But in the same sense, I understand his paradoxes, because his paradoxes are, he's trying to explain something that's like unexplainable. That is occult. That is hidden. It's hidden for a reason. We're not supposed to know about it until we're ready to learn about it. Some people go through their whole life not getting an understanding of what they should learn about the occult. Yet, they think the occult is bad. And it's like, you need to learn this hidden knowledge. You know, and I mean, I get triggered a lot by Thunderwizard, because like in his newest video, he said something to the effect of Western Magick came after all this stuff, and you know, he's not wrong about that. Western Magick did come after all this crap. It is a newer spirituality. However, it being a newer spirituality doesn't mean it has any less knowledge, because it's a newer spirituality developed within older systems, using deity, getting in sync with nature. We're going back to, you know, because that's the thing, like the Norse mythologies and all these different traditions are great, and they do the same thing. And yeah, like his thunder wheel he had, I mean, the first fucking King Solomon protection sigils I used were the same fucking design as the one him and his somebody else created together. He went back and said how old it was or whatever, so yeah, okay, maybe King Solomon stole it from him. Maybe that's what happened, I don't know. But nonetheless, I mean, King Solomon is Old Testament. Old Testament is before Christ. If you go by that timeline, I'm not saying it's real, I'm not saying it's not real. All I'm saying is, if you think the Old Testament is before Christ, well, Christ is 2,000 years ago, thereabouts, and the Old Testament is way before that, maybe even 2,000 or 3,000 years before that. So that's an old sigil just for the King Solomon shit. But he got that knowledge from somewhere, and it made it all the way to his part of the world. King Solomon was King David's fucking... I think that's all archetypal. I don't think the Bible's real. Okay, I know. I don't. And even the Norse mythology that he was talking about, he's talking about the deities being real and being in your body. Yet, you'll say the deities aren't real. So, but these paradoxes are necessary, and they're there to challenge people. This is one of the reasons I'm not going to come out here and just start dissing him for the shit he's saying, and for him saying, because I'm happy that he says that there is some power and truth in saying things at the end of your bed now, because there is. Simply saying something all the time and not taking any action is not going to do anything. But if your affirmations, let's say you're in this bad state and you start saying affirmations twice a day, then that goes to 4 times a day, and that goes to 8 times a day, and you start feeling a little bit better, and you start embodying it, you start dressing and trying to wear clothes appropriate maybe for what you're trying to say, and then all of a sudden you start saying that thing like 30 times a day, and then all of a sudden you decide to record it on your phone, and on top of saying it 30 times a day, you're listening to it to another 30 times a day, and you're doing it at night before bed, and you're doing it first thing in the morning. Well, you're going to start seeing changes at this point. And it took those baby steps to build up to get there, and then you're also going to start taking actions towards that. So what I'm trying to say is, saying it once or twice isn't going to do anything. But if you stick with saying it once or twice, eventually that's going to multiply. It's going to start having an effect on you. You have to affect things at the mind first, for people that are like me anyways. People that are like me, maybe you have to go into action. That's why I said before too, Thunderwizard is more somebody for action. He's the Mars warrior type to get you to fucking get out of fucking bed, make your fucking bed, get your uniform out, and go to fucking war. Go fight these fucking spiritual fucking fake ass fuckers, and get down there and meditate and get into your fucking unconscious and program your mind the way you want it, instead of just whining about it and giving excuses why it don't work. That's who he's for. More for the type who knows there's power within speaking, and there's power in the thoughts. How you can use those thoughts, as I did, to change your reality. For the people who are starting in spirituality, who can't spend money on programs or the Thunderwizard things, to try to find a way to get the money to be able to pay Thunderwizard or whoever And I'm giving you those ways. And if I haven't been clear enough, well, I'm going to start being very clear as of right now how to do those things. I'm going to tell you specifically everything I've ever done and what I'm still doing to make magic happen, to make money happen, to banish away fucking debt, to banish away my bills. I'm just going to tell you everything. I'm just going to divulge it all. And if you start making money off of this, don't think that it's the end all, be all, and you're done and you figured out the secrets of life. Because here's what I also know. I got there. I finished my first neophyte grade, and then I got into the elemental grade of Earth. And then after I got the elemental grade of Earth, I started being able to manifest things. My health got to a better spot. I stopped even craving drugs, everything. I stopped practicing. I was just lighting a candle every night, putting my attention on it, which kept manifesting stuff. But then things around me started to fall apart because I wasn't doing my banishings. I wasn't doing any of the stuff that keeps negative energy away from me. So I was manifesting things, but even the things I started to manifest started being corrupted. I moved my set point, which is something that allows you to make X amount of dollars. Well, I realized that mine was low, so I had to push that thing and make it larger. Well, that started to not work anymore for me. And it wasn't that my set point wasn't there, it was that there was dark energy, negative spirits, astral entities, whatever you want to call them. When you light up the astral, like when you do my practices from my tradition, from what I do, you light up the astral. So anything that's there, anything that's been created, from the demons in Christianity to the demons before Christianity to all these different entities that people have put thought into, they have created that shit. That's there. I can see you. You do these banishings to keep those fuckers away. If you stop doing those banishings, those fuckers can find you. If you're still trying to do magic and you think you know it all, well, your magic is going to manifest, but it's going to get fucked up. So you can't just stop. I'm going to give you all the ways I've manifested things so that you can potentially make money to pay these other teachers to teach you the right way, I guess. Thunderwizard keeps saying, but you don't have to. I mean, and I guess in a manner of speaking, I'm learning from a teacher. I'm learning from William Thomas Christopher, who wrote the book Cabal and the Great Work of Self-Transformation. And on top of that, I use Frederick Xavier's channel. He's my other teacher. On top of that, I use Birch as someone who guided me to the right witchcraft information, because he's got a bunch of information on his channel of who you should listen to, different podcasts, different books. I watched and read every single thing he's put on there, plus all of his stuff, plus all of his new stuff. And I am always searching for more. Like I said, I got 900 PDFs on my fucking phone. I've never hit the 1,000 because I figured I got 900 now, and there's no point in going even higher. So I'll just read these books. And I'm at about 600 books read. And not all of those are consciously. A lot of those are putting them on while I sleep. So I absorb the information while I sleep. But that's how I get a lot of this information out to you guys. It's stuff I didn't even know I knew. And then all of a sudden I know it. So well, it's because my subconscious knows it. Or my unconscious, whichever one you want. I'm very much someone who decides to use his unconscious. I use the time that I sleep to learn. You can say, well, that's not fucking possible. Yeah, it is. Put a book on when you go to sleep every night going forward. If you're using magical books, you're programming your subconscious mind. You're adding programming that these things are possible. And at the same time, you're learning about this shit. It's like a win-win. So, anyways, I gotta go. All right. Oh, so I gotta rush home. That promotion I told everybody about, my wife getting, she had 2 days of training. Picked it up like that. Maybe I did supporting magic, maybe I didn't. I'm not gonna get into it. She's still technically learning the job, so I'm not gonna talk about magic that I've done before. Oh my god. I should go get gas. No. Happily married, but looking at other women doesn't hurt anything. If anything, these women, especially the ones that are wearing tight clothes, sexy clothes, showing a lot of skin. I mean, not right now. We got snow last night here in Cornwall, Ontario, Canada, so we're already at -10. And I said that, predicted that. It's not really a prediction if it happens every year, but I literally said it. As of November, it's going to be -10 right through till at least the end of March. So for anybody who says it's not cold long enough here in these countries and global warming's a thing, bullshit. Come live here for a while. And you're gonna say, well, it's gotta be colder than that. It's like, stop global warming. You're like, no. We're at fucking minus 20 from December till right to the end of at least February. Sometimes the end of March, I'd say even. But I don't want to use absolutes. It's fucking cold, man. We're hitting 36. And I'm on the border of the states. New York State is right across the water. We're hitting minus 36. We hit minus fucking 40. This hasn't happened in years. Years. And here's the other thing I want to say about that. If you're so sure of what the world needs, and you're in spirituality, see, I don't superimpose my will on the earth. I don't pretend to assume that global warming is real and that we need to fix the earth or it's fucked or any of that, because I'm not adding that consciousness into the home where my children have to grow up and live. I don't want to add the fact that we fucked this world up and, oh yeah, future generations are fucked and you don't give a fuck because you're not going to be around, and that's just fucking selfish and dickish, by the way. But anyways, but if you think you know what the problem is, then why aren't you helping? And you can say, well, you know, it's not your job to do that. Well, but it's your job to consume more fossil fuels and have a bigger fucking carbon fucking footprint and make fucking things fucked up. So at the very least, shouldn't you be doing at least your fucking magic, your type of magic, whatever it is, shamanism, witchcraft, ceremonial magic, pagan, fairy, fucking lore, whatever the fuck you're doing? Shouldn't you reduce your carbon footprint on this fucking world at the very least? Shouldn't you be doing that kind of magic? If you know this world is fucked. California might be getting hotter. Canada's getting fucking colder. So if anything, if it goes by how cold this shit is, then I'm fucking safe as shit here. So I don't give a fuck if California gets all fucked up. That's selfish. I get it, but my kids aren't in California. My kids are right here. And I care about the people in California as much as I care about any other person in any other part of the world. I really do. But in the same sense, my family is here and I'm going to protect mine, and that's what I do. And if it means the world has to get colder to endure longer, then I'm going to make that happen. And whether or not someone else tries my tradition or not and has luck with it or it works for them, I have been able, and this is not part of my tradition, this is anything anybody can do. So, you know, maybe there's points to that. I never tried animism, shamanism, whatever you want to call it. Never tried that shit, so I don't know. I've studied some of it, and I have maybe 3 practices that I do that come from the roots in old Germanic, well, not even Germanic, maybe heathen more than that. But regardless of all that, reject, banish, deny, and then accepting ideas, thoughts, okay? The thought of me saying, I banish that it's going to rain today. I deny any thoughts of rain today in my mind. I reject any rain today. And I accept that it's going to be sunny for the amount of time that I am doing this work outside. There's a blonde, good-looking cop right there. Holy fuck. God. You know, this equal opportunity stuff, you know, opportunity of outcome or equal outcome is unrealistic, but equal job opportunity, I see more girl cops in my town than guy cops. It's amazing, and that's a great thing. That's a great fucking thing. I'm happy about that. As long as these girls want to be cops. I mean, if these girls want to be cops, and obviously if they want to be cops, that's why they're cops, right? No one's going to do a job they don't want to do. So these girls want to be cops, so, you know. But the point I'm trying to get at is it's a beautiful thing. If these girls want to be cops and now they're fucking cops, it's awesome. I'm so happy for them. That's fucking amazing. And we've been bombarded with nothing but male cops, except for auxiliary cops at the courthouse, and even those were mostly male most of the time, when you'd have a couple there. And then the girls at the cop shop in uniform, and not in uniform, but would be doing the desk jobs. The cops would be out. Now you got all these girl cops coming out, helping out, and they're more fair. And I don't mean that in a, like, I get off the hook more way. Like, they can discern better. male cop, and not all of them, obviously, this is not a generalized statement, and I'm not against men for women and all that. I mean, I've said it many times that women are the more dominant species on this earth. Women are more powerful. Hell, go look it up. When you come out of the womb, or sorry, not when you come out of the womb, but when you're in the womb, when you're being created, we all start off as a woman. And then XY chromosome or XX, whatever the case happens, then it's decided if you're a boy or a girl. But everybody's a girl, and it's either you stay a girl or you develop a penis. And that's how it works. Go look it up if you don't believe me. So, anybody thinking the woman is not more powerful? And the whole reason we have this cock culture and men fucking trying to suppress the woman from the first wife Lilith wasn't good enough for Adam, so then God had to make Eve because, you know, women are just like that, and she's a demon fucker now, making demon babies and stealing babies from other women and all this shit. It's all horse shit. You believe that? Get off my fucking channel. You're a fucking idiot. You're gonna believe something that's just trying to bring down women. And the worst thing is when you see Christian women fucking bad mouthing like other fucking spiritualities that actually put the fucking divine feminine above all else. Like, it's like, you're an idiot. You're in this culture that hates you. Like, fuck, man. Wake up and smell the fucking penis and smell your own pussy and realize how powerful you are. Get the fuck out of that culture. Anyways, opened up a lot of fucking things there. I should try to close some of them down, but with Jack banished and I was able to stop the rain multiple times. I was able to make snow happen a few times just by saying with Jack banished and I my advice. I have it on tape and I never played it because I don't want people to think I'm trying to brag. But my wife was even like jaw dropped. There was no rain happening around my house. Yeah, just on the street it was raining. On the street over there it was raining. I'm talking about east and south, not raining. Raining in my neighbor's yard on the fucking north side. And raining on the other side of that fucking wall over there in my yard. Okay, there's Brookdale, see that's a big wall there. You can't really see it. There's a big wall in my backyard there. Not my structure. On the other side of that wall, it was raining. All these different directions around my house it was raining. And I mean, I've many times set up the angels. Because like I said, when I do my lesser banishing, to help myself when I first started, you're supposed to picture yourself in the astral, but yet you're here in the present at your altar. You have to be in two places at once. So for me, what I like to do is I like to pretend my higher self was up there, which is when I was watching the higher self channel a lot into whatever. So think of it as you want. Your soul is up in the astral at all times, and I was down here. And at first I felt funny about talking about it like that, but you know, it was working, so I didn't bother correcting it. But now when I know what I know is like everything in the astral has to happen here. So it almost is as if that there is another version of you in the astral right now, and whatever that version of you in the astral has filters down here. That's how magic works. That's the whole premise of everything. You burn this sigil. Sigil says you have $3,000 fucking dollars. You burn that sigil. Put as much energy you can into that. Because if you put enough energy in that and it gets into your subconscious mind, the moon, which is who governs the astral, Yesod on the tree of life, okay? That's all the astral. If you put enough energy into that bitch, it creates it up there. And while you have the sigil, you still have the representation here down on earth. When you burn that sigil, you no longer have it there, but you put enough energy that it's up there in the astral. Then it filters down here. After knowing this now, after Birch thing, fucking one of the best things I've ever learned from Birch was that right there. After learning that shit, my little practice where there's two of me, one in the astral, one down here, makes uber sense. Uber sense. And that's how I do it all the time. So, I set up the angels around me when I do the fucking Archangel invocation. When I do the lesser vanishing ritual of the pentagram. And I mean, angels are neither good nor bad. It's like money. It's neither good nor bad. Even God of the Bible, I think he's a fucking dickhead. Jehovah, you know, I think sometimes he can be nice, sometimes he can be a dick, which makes sense for deities. But anyways, doesn't matter what I think about him. Point is, he can be good or bad, depending on what you make of him. Same with archangels. I mean, they're just energies. And they were created in my system to protect you. So you can say, well, that's your Abrahamic religion, this and that, and yeah, you're right. It's where it might come from. Or I tend to think it's older than that, but I don't really know. It's probably not. But hell, they were created to protect me. And everybody who believes in the Bible, believes in these angels beings that will protect you from evil, puts extra power into it. I would be a fool not to use their power to fuel my magic and protect me and my family. Only fools will say, well, that's an Abrahamic religion and you're using Abrahamic religion. Well, yeah, but I'm using it to my benefit. I'm not using it to fucking say, well, believe in Jesus and you'll be saved. No, I'm using it to protect me. Like I said, they're around me in the astral, so not fucks with me up there. On top of my fucking army of fucking egregores and thought forms that created around me. On top of all my fucking amulets, talismans, and everything protecting me here. On top of invoking my own ancestors to protect me, I have Archangel Gabriel there, Archangel Raphael there, Archangel Michael there, Archangel Oriel there, right around my house at all given times. So when I banish something out of my reality, like say, I reject this rain, and I accept that there's fucking sunshine. Well, that one day where there was only no rain around my house, exactly where I put those archangels, it's like they put a dome over me. I didn't even have to fucking do it. But the rain just wouldn't come through. And you can say, well, that's horseshit. Well, whatever. Next time it happens, I'll record it. You don't have to believe me. I don't give a fuck if you believe me. What I want you to do is think what I'm saying is bullshit. Go out there and try it and realize, holy fuck, this stupid fuck. Corey was right. I shouldn't call myself that. I'm always self-deprecating. I'm trying not to be, but I really got to get those girls ready though for school. Or my wife is going to kill me and all this is for nothing. Shit. Fuck. Oops, shit. That didn't work. Anyways, sorry about the stupidity and the drama. I'm getting ready to go outside anyways. But got lots of leaves to rake up. The winds are crazy. I don't know if it's because of the storm. I don't know if Zeta's still going out. I don't know anything. Anyways, before I go any further, the next thing I need to do, what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to keep getting into why positive affirmations are real and why Thunderwizard may have come around. If potentially he saw my video, so I have a whole video of why he was wrong about positive affirmations and why you can use them. And it boils down to the negative self-talk going on in your head. Changing that to positive self-talk in your head will give you positive results. And you can start manifesting in real time by just changing the thoughts in your mind, but it's more like the positive or negative self-talk that you have going on in the background by using banish, rejected, now you take control of that. I'm not going to get into that because I've been in it multiple times. I do want to get into, like I said earlier, the fucking ways I manifest, so you can go out there and buy programs from people. But before I go any further, I was talking about Thunderwizard's concept of conscious mind. In between you have the subconscious mind, which is like a lens onto the unconscious mind. And I said I don't completely agree with that. I'm going to play where I first got the information from. I have this on my channel somewhere else before, and the video is in my liked videos, but I'll put the clip down low. You can learn a lot from this doctor. He's very, very smart guy. Helps out a lot. I checked this research. Now, I think 2 videos I found to accurately prove what he was saying was right, and the rest I had to do it from books. So I find the videos, I think they're in my liked as well, that prove this guy's theory, but I had to break down his theory. It's the theory of the triune brain, neocortex, limbic system, and reptilian brain stuff. And from there, he goes into what happens, the whole 1 second thing back whenever you have too much trauma, and the neocortex takes a picture of everything, and then you get in this hypnotic state and you don't even know what's going on. This was my main premise for when COVID came out and the fear-based media was everywhere, and it was charging people negatively, I guess, making harmful fear-based media, getting people so scared. And if they go out there and they have too much fear emotion, this process could happen to everybody. And it was the thing I was worried about the most. I'm not saying COVID is real or not real. I'm worried about a reptilian holding pattern. Limbic reptilian holding pattern, I think is the term he uses. And everybody has these things. He even connects this to how it's the same as a heroin connection, a heroin high. So I'm going to play it for you, about 5 minutes long, and it's going to explain to you why I don't agree with Thunderwizard's complete concept of that. I'm not saying he's wrong. He's right in some ways, but in other ways he's not. I don't know why I always feel the need to correct him, and it's not that I'm trying to correct him. I'm trying to, and he has a video saying learn from my mistakes as well. So I'm trying to use his information, adding it to the information I already know, and filling in the gaps of certain things, because he knows a lot about this, and then he, as above so below, uses correspondences to teach other things. And sometimes there's just a couple of details that might be off. I don't know why. I've done this with Frater, I've done this with Birch, I've done this with Ralph, I've done this with a lot of people, so I'm not picking on him, and I'm not saying I'm smarter than him, because it's not me. It's a doctor I'm showing. I got information from him. But when you add that information to Thunderwizard's information, then it makes more sense. And you can use it in a coherent way. So this is not to make fun of him. It's not to diss him. I learn a lot from him. And this is why I'm going to teach you the simple ways of creating money in your life. And by creating money in your life, you'll be able to figure out if you have a financial set point that only allows you to make so much money, and then you can lift that up. I can teach you how to do that too. But I learned that from Frater Xavier. So you can just go to his channel and learn it from him as well. And he's the one that taught me, so you're getting the information directly from him. Now I interpret it in a different way, and it might make it easier for a certain type of person, but not everybody. But this will explain to you the 3 levels of the brain. You can say, well, I don't need to fucking know that. Just give me some spiritual shit. Just give me some magic shit. Just give me some spells. And it's like, no. Understanding your own brain is the best fucking thing you can do. The only thing I'd say in this time would be better than what I'm about to show you on here would be how to breathe correctly. Because you're breathing 23,000 times a day, and breathing puts you either in the autonomic nervous system or the sympathetic or parasympathetic nervous systems. Those 2 nervous systems take you into fight or flight or back into the relaxation mode. And it's the only way to trump some of the things he's going to talk about the brain. You can actually use your breathing to overpower your brain from doing certain things. So if you're in fight or flight, if you're fearful, you're anxiety, if you're high on fucking cocaine, if you start breathing correctly, you can trump it. And I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this out of fucking bullshit. I'm telling you out of fucking well, not cocaine, speed, amphetamines. Okay, I fucked up a long time ago, and I've used these fucking things to get me out of on Ritalin and getting all anxious and paranoid. I actually did this in the past a long fucking time ago. Point is, you can trump things with breathing. That's why fucking breathing is so powerful and healing. But besides that, understanding your brain and how it works, what happens with trauma, this is important. What becoming depolarized will help you, because I'm not worried about, I know there's truth to COVID. I know there's a lot of overblown exaggerations to COVID. I know that wearing a mask protects you from COVID a little more than it could, but not completely. But I also know that by wearing a mask all the time, we are ultimately protecting ourselves from COVID-19, but we're also harming ourselves by not getting in all the other germs that our bodies got used to taking in every day. And you can be an alcoholic and you can drink every single day. What happens when that alcoholic stops drinking? Well, they start getting sick because their body was used to that. So you're taking in germs every time you go into the store. You start wearing a mask, you're not taking in those germs. What's going to happen to your body when it doesn't get those same things it got every day that you have no fucking idea that you were taking in? What do you think happens? This is what I'm trying to tell people. This is going to make people fucking sick. And what happens when you get more sick? You weaken your immune system. And then what happens when you come into contact with COVID-19, but your immune system is already weaker from other stimuli, other things that happened that shouldn't have happened to you because you've been wearing a fucking mask 24/7. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. And if you come home and you do breathing techniques after at least wearing a mask, well, then you're going to decrease your CO2 levels. You're going to increase your oxygen levels. You're going to take yourself out of fight or flight if you were in there, and you're going to start healing your body. This is why I said at the very least, after wearing a mask, you have to do breathing exercises when you come home to keep yourself safe. These are the fucking things I do to stay safe. These are the things everybody should be doing instead of just watching fear-based media, believing the bullshit. They should be figuring out how ways that they could adapt to this without making themselves sick. Because I'm telling you right now, you're taking germs every fucking day of your life. Up in if you're an older person, 50 years of age or older, there's been 50 years you've been taking in the same germs in the same environments. Even if you just move somewhere, a couple of years you've been taking in these germs. If you start wearing a mask all the time, you're no longer taking in as much of those germs. You might not be taking any in. And then what happens to the body when it's used to something? Your body can get used to heroin. It can get used to alcohol. It can get used to bad food. And if you stop taking bad food, even simple foods, if you stop eating the same foods you've been eating your whole life, your body's going to go into shock. It's proven. Go look it up if you don't believe me. But this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. So what are we doing to everybody? We're putting everybody in a fucking shock because they're not getting the stuff they're supposed to be getting in. And they don't even know how to breathe correctly in the fucking first place. So I'm way off topic, and that's what I do. I can go from one thing to make it bigger, and I don't mean to do that because I really wish I wasn't so attention deficit and then talk about a million things all at once and never really get no point of anything. I wish I wasn't like that, but I am. So I'm gonna put the doctor on here, explain the triune brain for many reasons, and when I come back on, I'm hopefully gonna get to the magic stuff that everybody wants to hear. But please first listen to this and really fucking understand it. Play it a few times so it sinks in. I mean, I've watched this probably like 10 times or more, had it on episodes that I probably also listened to an additional 10 times. And I tried finding the video about the rain around my house. I must have deleted it. With my computer down and me making videos on my phone, I don't have enough room all the time to put the videos on, so I gotta delete all my old videos. It might be saved to my iCloud somewhere. If I fucking find it, I will show you the raindrops coming down, but not coming down in my yard. I literally have the camera upside down. But anyways, I don't know if it'll be possible. But the good news is I've marked these things down that have worked, like a scientist does. You test a spell, the spell works. You test your magic, the magic works. You know how to do it now. Now, there are other things to come into play. That's the problem with this kind of science, with occult science, with what you want to call it alchemy, which is kind of different. But anyways, is with all the different astrological things going on when you perform your magic, sometimes you can't replicate the same magic. So you do something when the moon's in Cancer or Jupiter's in Cancer. Well, Jupiter will expand something. Cancer will give you stuff the roundabout way. It won't be so direct, you know. It'll make you, like if you, instead of just giving somebody money, you might make them like pretend they won the lottery or something like that, you know. But then if the moon is in, or if Jupiter is in another sign, or let's say when you did your magic, Jupiter was it was in whatever sign that you were using. The next time Jupiter's in a whole different sign, but you're still using, let's say, anyways, the point is Jupiter will expand whatever you're doing. So the next time you do that spell, you might not get as much. So these things is what makes magic so hard to track like a real science, because there's too many variables that we can't track all at the same time. And it's continuously turning because Jupiter takes a while to get aside. So you might have Jupiter for a while, but then you try to do the same thing next year and he's not in the same place anymore. You know what I mean? So anyways, all that aside, listen to this complex but simple way of explaining the brain and what happens whenever too much trauma comes to you, and think about it in the context of being around too much fear, because I mean the same thing can happen when you're experiencing too much good emotion as well, but it's less likely because trauma and fear is what we avoid when we're always searching for the good happiness. And unless you get a bunch of money that you weren't expecting, or whatever you think is the best thing that can happen to you, unless that actually happens to you, because it always seems to be just out of reach. You know, you get towards it, but it's out of reach. That's kind of the point. But anyways, the point is you're never going to really experience all that crazy emotion unless everything just works out for you all in the same moment. But you can experience death, loss, addiction, tragedy, disease, losing everything. That can all happen simultaneously within the same moment. You add all this other bullshit going on. So anyways, listen to this, understand it, and figure out how you cannot be somebody who gets stuck in that. And if you think you have this happening, which is going to be very hard to understand because it's unconscious, it's something that happens. It's one of those things that Thunderwizard has a bang on. And he's helped me understand the things that happen unconsciously or something you not know about. So how the fuck can you know about it? It's the reason why he probably promotes, you know, going to someone else so they can see that unconscious shit happen to you. I book learn. I book learn, YouTube learn, okay? That's how I do it. And I've done pretty well for myself. But when it comes to, and I've sought a psychiatrist, and I talk to a counselor. I actually am right now. And it's to help me stay straight. And in the book I do, it actually asks, it tells you part of the curriculum is to actually get assessed by a counselor or a therapist to make sure, because there's a lot of people that get into the occult who are power hungry. And there is power to this stuff. You can do harm with this stuff. Hopefully most of those people don't get a hold of it or don't stay in it long enough for that to actually happen. However, it does sometimes. There is natural power, natural abilities that some people are born with. Sometimes those people were traumatized as kids, so that power comes out in their traumatized perspective way as everybody's a fucking piece of shit and I can do whatever I want to anybody. So anyways, I'm gonna play it for you now. And if I don't come back on, I hope you got the gist of this. It was just showing you where Thunderwizard has changed his mind about positive affirmations, which means growth, which means balance, which means he can be depolarized and he can admit when he's wrong, even though he probably won't come out and say I was wrong in the past, but it was right now. But I've seen him apologize to people that he started being mean to and then realized he was wrong. So he's not a bad guy to learn from, and I'm not trying to diss him. I did put some clips on here with some text, but I picked the clip from the old video where he said positive affirmations don't work. I picked the clip where he was kind of in the middle on it. He says there's some truth to it, and I believe that. So I could have went a lot worse, where he straight up, in parts in those videos where he straight up says it doesn't gonna work, it's bullshit and all that. He has those clips. I have them on here, and I chose not to do that. And maybe I shouldn't even be saying it right now, but the point is to learn from this. It's not to diss him. It's not for hits. It's not for views. It's to get the overall concept that it's okay if you're wrong. You can admit it. It's okay if you think something isn't right, and then you look into it later and you figure out your opinion was wrong. That is how you grow. That's how you evolve. You'll learn more from failure than you do from rewatching the same shit you've already watched, that you already know. You're just chasing the fucking high, the feeling, the good feelings you got when you saw that the first time. You keep watching it because you want to reaffirm what you already know. Well, how are you going to learn that way? You need to watch things that you don't already know. And it's not easy just to go on the other side of the extreme, the other polarity, and start learning that stuff, because you're not going to want to. So start with something that you think is important, like maybe breath work or understanding your own brain. Start looking at that, because this way it's something you don't know, that you don't have an opinion of yet. And then you can go get yourself an opinion, and maybe you can stay objective on it. And once you get good at that, then maybe you can circle back down to those things that you don't want to watch, that have the opposite opinion of you, but you have a new understanding of some other shit. It might help you understand that better now. Just a thought. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Have yourselves a great fucking day.
Brain gets triggered, we react. Gotta eat, gotta whatever. On a limbic level, when a person, giant brain is this neocortex that don't control your limbic brain. And the limbic brain is in the center of your brain, and it is subconsciously controlled, meaning you don't control your limbic brain. Your limbic brain has its own momentum.
Sorry, I just gotta interject something real fast, real quick, because I was just watching my own video, and he goes into limbic brain. He says, well, the part you just heard, he says it's the limbic brain, you don't control your limbic brain. Your limbic brain has its own momentum, and it's sexually controlled, it's emotionally controlled or charged, or one of those things. And I just want to point out how interesting that is, because Birch has a video, Sex Magic, and he says there's a lot of ways to get energy to make magic happen, but they say there's the three, at least his traditions or whatever the case is, and I believe this, but the three most powerful ways of raising energy for anything. You know, you make a sigil, you raise the energy, you put that energy in a sigil, and then that creates it on the astral. It comes down to you, okay? Three of the biggest ways to raise energy: singing, dancing, and sex. But in general, what do we do in magic? We have a thought, we're adding action, that's our ritual, is our action for the time being, and then we put our emotion into it. What do you do with a sigil? You make a picture out of words, you jerk off to it. When you come, you look at that, or this might be another reason why my magic's been working so fast too. I've been having a lot of sex lately, and I carve a candle every night and I leave it in my room. And there are some nights where I look at that candle at the point of orgasm. Either way, it's still in the room. I mean, it's better if you look at the candle, and if you can envision what you want in your mind at the same time, which is very hard to do. But whatever you're looking at, whenever you reach orgasm coming, gets shot right into your subconscious mind. It's the fastest way to do it. So I didn't get any of the magic stuff on this one. Well, this is one of the ways I do magic all the time: sex. But if you could add dance and singing while you're having sex, you got three of the highest energies. But I just thought it was interesting, because the limbic mind, the subconscious, that all us magicians, witches, and even shamans are talking about, okay? All the deities, we want to connect to a deity, we take on that deity, it's in our subconscious mind, it's teaching us stuff. If we can get our conscious mind out of the way, the deity will tell us what to do and how to learn and what to learn. Well, the limbic system is sexually and emotionally driven, controlled. Therefore, if you use sex magic, like I just explained, right at the point of orgasm, if you can stop yourself from orgasming and looking at your candle, your sigil, and keep going, and stop again right before you can, and you know, it's gonna manifest probably in days, as long as you don't think about it, you know what I mean? That's one way to do this, but singing, dancing, and sex are the 3 most powerful ways to raise energy. But there's many other ways. Ritual magic, getting in a routine of doing ritual magic at an altar, in a circle between the worlds, doing banishings to get rid of all negative, everybody's negative thoughts, including your own around you, so that the new thoughts that you're trying to manifest can go out there and do something. That's the whole point of these banishings, you know? Well, you're raising energy. You're there putting emotion into it. You're thinking about it. You're getting pumped. If you dance and you sing and you're so grateful for whatever it is that you're visualizing at the same time as you're doing your ritual in your ritual setting, that's raising energy and putting it into that to create it on the astral and bring it down. Anyways, I just wanted to add this right in between here after he says the limbic mind is sexually and emotionally controlled, because it's one of the things that I just realized that he said in here after watching it for like the fucking 30th time, or I think it's the 10 and 10, so 21st time. I just realize something else. And so I say, if you watch things over and over again, you'll get new understandings of it, and then you can teach the older concepts you already taught with newer concepts. But even just for someone who's just learning, you can just learn this new stuff over and over again. By me doing these videos, I've learned so much. It's incredible. That's why to me it doesn't even matter if people are watching it or not, or subscribing, because it's an outlet and I learn and I get to look at my pretty face at the same time. No, I'm just kidding. But sexual energy, raising emotion is important. You add song, dance to it. That's why you see witches dancing around in a circle. That's why drumming, ritual drumming, Thunderwizard always talks about that. What is that? That's song. 3 biggest ways to raise energy: sex, music, well, dancing, and singing. So singing is music, you know? Anyways, just wanted to add that. I don't think I'll be coming on again, but I'm listening to my video at the same time, so if I do, I'll come back on. You're gonna get it all at once. All this has already happened. It's kind of present, but present moment, but past. It's kind of cool. I like how this, if you think about that, you can meditate on that for days. But anyways, once again, enjoy this shit. Really, really get what this motherfucker's trying to say.
Its own rationale. It is reactive in nature. It has to do with feeding and fighting and fleeing. It's sexually driven. It's emotionally driven. And when this limbic brain gets triggered, we react. Gotta eat, gotta whatever. On a limbic level, when you or I are triggered in this emotionally reactive way, it sends a signal. There's no choice, there's no judgment, and when it goes, it goes. Procreation, it's why we make babies. It's a driven thing. You know, it's just instilled in our neural network. The third part of this triune brain is what's called the reptilian brain. And reptilian brain has to do with the midbrains, the pons, the medulla oblongata, the cerebellum. This is the primal brain. This is the dinosaur brain. I mean, you thought the dinosaurs are extinct? They're not. They're in your reptilian brain. They still live in you and I. This is a reactive brain. There's no choice, there's no judgment. The reptilian brain orchestrates your cardiopulmonary function, your heartbeat, your blood pressure, your respiration, and all the functions of the 50 plus trillion cells in your body are reptilian controlled by this particular brain. That brain, no choice, no judgment. When it gets triggered, you get rigid, you get ritualistic, you get obsessive and compulsive. Hey, do you know anybody who's rigid, ritualistic, obsessive compulsive, addictive in nature? Yeah, I got a friend, right? Everybody has it. That reptilian brain, when it gets triggered, it takes over, and we're in it. Now here's the thing. There's this experience in life where we're moving and grooving from one step to the next, and we're having emotional experiences every step of the way. The limbic brain is bouncing off of certain people and moments, and we feel happy, we feel joy, we feel sad, we feel angry, we feel vulnerable. And in a particular moment where the emotions are like at this crescendo and we can't deal with it, we don't know how to process those emotions, good, bad, or ugly, we can't process our emotions, the limbic brain creates a stopgap. And the stopgap is so interesting because it stops the information of the energy and motion or emotion from going up to the neocortex, that higher brain, that rational, creative, logical brain. It just sends a signal right down to the reptilian brain, and the reptilian goes into its fright, fight, or flight. It just goes into its automatic, what's called autonomic function, where based upon the emotion, let's say it's anger, heart rate starts to go at anger. Blood sugar goes at anger. Muscle tone goes at anger. Immunity's at anger. All these things match that vibration of information. When we don't have the tools, the strategies, the conscious support to process our emotion, it forms what's called a limbic reptilian holding pattern. And I want to point out a couple of things here because it's really interesting. That in that particular moment of emotional overdrive, a process called T-1 is set into motion. Now T-1 means perceived trauma, T, minus 1 millisecond. So the limbic brain goes like this. It's like, whoa, I'm in this emotional circumstance and this is so intense and I can't deal with everything that's going on. I'm overwhelmed and I'm so anxious and worried. And the limbic brain goes like this. Circumstance and this is so intense and I can't deal with everything that's going on. I'm overwhelmed and I'm so anxious and worried. And the limbic brain goes like this. And it takes a snapshot picture. Takes an audio file. It takes all the sensory stimuli of what you're smelling, what you're tasting, what you're feeling in that moment, and it puts it into a file, a data system, where those sensory experiences are saved. But then the tape backs up. 1 millisecond. So it causes us to go into a hypnotic trance-like state where we're programmed to forget. We're programmed to forget. Now, those of you lifeliners, as you're hearing me say that, you know, in one of our portals, we make statements that match that. We're programmed to forget because we can't process the emotions, and nobody can help us process the emotions. So now, every time this memory that's emotionally charged, that hasn't been processed, gets triggered. Well, what triggers it? It's the color orange. What triggers it? The smell of spaghetti. What triggers it? Somebody looking at you in that way or having that tone of voice. And then boom, you're in this limbic reptilian holding pattern. And your body, rather than adapting to the moment, like I was talking about in the last video, and with muscle reflex testing, you maladapt as if that particular situation was going on for the first time, again and again and again. Here's the kicker. Your brain and your body, as much as you got 3 of them in there, your brain and your body are not designed to know the difference between memory, reality, or imagination. Our brains, when we get triggered and a memory comes up, your body instinctually reacts as if it's actually going on. Like being in a movie theater and it's scary as heck. But it's not really going on. You're just looking at it, and you're gripping, and your heart's racing, and your mind's like, get me out of here. This is the way that we're designed. Brain and body don't know the difference between memory, reality, and imagination. So these emotions that are charged when they get triggered, the real chemicals, they're called neuropeptides. Now I know I'm saying like these crazy words, but neuropeptides are proteins. They're molecules in chemistry in your body that match emotions. And when these molecules of emotion get triggered, the pituitary gland starts pumping these chemicals out throughout our circulation. And it's sent through the capillaries, the small blood vessels, to every single cell. and receives these emotionally charged chemicals, these neuropeptides, and they bind to receptor sites. And these emotionally charged chemicals that bind to the receptor sites, those receptors that the emotions are binding to, those receptors that the emotions are binding to are the same receptors that heroin binds to. Meaning, we're all subconscious addicts. We are all mainlining emotions that represent memories that have not been fully processed, that are emotionally charged. And when they get triggered, the limbic brain...
But it doesn't really matter what, it's all arbitrary. And the law of attraction has this thing that says, if you sit on the edge of your bed and you focus on a specific thing, it'll come to you. There's truth to that. I'm not saying that that's not true at all. What I am saying is that the assumption there that I hear in your question, which maybe I'm missing, maybe you